49ers top 50 players, the most in the NFL according to PFF. You got at 3, Trent Williams. So Trent Williams, who was graded out as like the highest PFF player ever in the history of PFF last year, he's third on their list. Coming in at 6, you got Nick Bosa. At 14, you got Fred Warner. 39, you got George Kittle. 44, you got Christian McCaffrey. And 50, you got Deebo Samuel. And I'm pretty sure a lot of 49er fans will probably say, Christian McCaffrey a little low on that list. Now, a lot of what PFF does is more of an analytically kind of driven list. It's not so much opinion. So I know just opinion, we would say Christian McCaffrey should be higher. How they go about making their list and the analytical way they go about it, I ain't really looking into that. But the one thing that did, and Deebo Samuel at 50, the one thing that did stand out to me was just how many players, and I wanted to just talk about what does it mean? Like, what does it mean that the San Francisco 49ers have 6 players in the top 50, the most in the entire NFL? And the thing I came away with first was Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's eye for fit. All right, not even just eye for talent, because anybody can, put together a talented roster. We've seen that before. I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles. They kind of dubbed it the dream team. Was it? I want to say Vince Young had said that, right? And Vince Young, he wasn't even the starter. I think Mike Vick was. But they had put together a team, and they were like, "Oh, this is the dream team." And then they went out there, didn't do well. Nnamdi Asomugha flopped. Just overall, the team didn't play well. So 49ers, they didn't just accumulate a bunch of talent. They accumulated the right fit. And I think that starts with Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and the way that they view guys fit on their team. We're going to get into a lot of talent and, traits and things like that as it pertains to guys like playing well and what goes into that. And really that conversation is surrounding Brock Purdy. But I think when you look at the 49ers, you can look at holes in their team. And I think over the last few years, unless the team is just injury riddled, it's interesting how it hasn't mattered that maybe at certain positions, they don't have like these top tier players. I see everybody kind of talk down on the 49ers and their roster. And all they do is continue to be a top team in the NFL. I get it. A lot of people upset about them maybe not winning the Super Bowl, and that is tough. But I tell you this, because I'm a fan of football more than anything, I enjoy watching the 49ers just compete. Just compete. Right now, at the start of the season, I feel strongly that, hey, man, the 49ers, they'll be in the NFC Championship game, right? They'll be in the divisional round. Like, I know they'll have a shot and an opportunity to be in the Super Bowl. And there's a lot of people that just really can't say that. You look at, I'm trying to think, Houston Texans, right? They're kind of in this rebuild. And I bet if you ask a Houston Texans fan, they're excited, but for different reasons. They want to see Bryce Young play. They want to see Bryce Young, excuse me, he's on the Panthers. CJ Stroud. They want to see, the Texans want to see CJ Stroud. And what does that look like with Damian Pierce? And what does it look like with some of the receivers they have, and Mechie coming back and all this defense, man? We got Will Anderson. So they're excited about seeing their young talent. They got Stingley last year. Like, what does that look like? The 49ers, though, they're excited for different reasons, all right, the fans. We're excited because we feel like there's a legit opportunity for the 49ers to really win the Super Bowl. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. And people talk down on the 49ers roster, I feel like every year. Or they'll point to, well, you can't do this because they don't have a quarterback. Well, has it mattered that the 49ers haven't had a quote-unquote franchise quarterback over the last 4 years when they made the NFC Championship 3 different times? Now, you might be able to say, and I say you might be able to say, well, they won't win the Super Bowl because of quarterback position. And we'll find that out. But I know one thing, regardless of who's at the quarterback spot, the 49ers, they're going to have a chance. Why? Because of the roster fit, the elite players, those 6 guys that are in the top 50, and then who surrounds them. So I know as we dive into the 49ers roster and camp battles, and you look at that edge position, and you're like, you got Nick Bosa, but opposite him, like, What is Drake Jackson going to be in? If he's not the guy, can it be Cleveland Farrell? Can it be Brian? Or can it be Kerry Hyder? Or whoever it is, right? But there's like that question mark. Or, oh, look at the right tackle spot, and you got McKivitz, and is he going to be good? Madden has him at like a 64 overall, right? Whatever it is, you're going to look at those spots, and there's going to be some question marks. But I tell you this, it doesn't matter. Now, when I say it doesn't matter, I don't mean it doesn't matter to be good, because some of the people that are talking about the 49ers and how, oh, they got the top 6, but it doesn't matter because they go, what? You're a Cowboy fan. You guys lost to Brock Purdy in this, and you guys lost to the Jimmy Garoppolo. So did it matter then that you didn't feel that those guys were franchise quarterbacks, but they still beat your team? So I think that's, to me, the interesting part with the 49ers and the way that they constructed this roster, man. A lot of talent. But overall, it hasn't mattered to the point where it's something that's going to really, truly hold them back wherever it is. And there are guys, around the league that might even have better quarterbacks. This is one thing I've realized over the last few years. Heading to the playoffs, as far as my confidence level in the 49ers quarterback position, not extremely high as it pertains to like the other quarterbacks in the NFC. I would say that of the NFC quarterbacks, you might say the 49ers have the 6th or even 7th best quarterback in the playoffs, right? Like, you might say that. And if you said that, I wouldn't give you a whole lot of pushback. But the team is so good and they're so well coached. That part of it doesn't matter. So when you see these people say, oh, well, they got a good roster, whatever, but the quarterback position is going to hold them back. No, it's not. It might hold them back from winning the whole thing. And why is that? Because at some point, like, you need your quarterback to kind of play above and beyond. And we'll see, Brock Purdy, and we'll get to him on that. But overall, the 49ers, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. Now, I see Mike in the chat, and he's like, Crock, that's crazy talk. And I know people are going to take it that way, but it's not. It's not. Heading into the playoffs over the last few years, when you look at and I'm assuming you're talking about like where people might say the 49ers quarterback position is, probably not as high as other quarterbacks. That doesn't mean that the quarterbacks suck. That doesn't mean that they're not going to play well. Even Jimmy Garoppolo, I didn't think he was ever going to just like light it up in the playoffs. But I figured, you know what? Jimmy's going to play well enough for this team and this coaching staff and all that, where they're going to win games. And I felt like that last year, even with rookie Brock Purdy. And I thought he did very well against the Seahawks. And then obviously against the Dallas Cowboys, he did enough to help win that game, made some key throws down the stretch, and boom, next thing you know, you are in the NFC Championship game. So there are people that are going to talk down on the 49ers and, it doesn't matter that you got this, top 50 player, whatever. But ultimately, they will be good enough to win football games. So I look at this list and I see Trent Williams and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel in the top 50 according to PFF, the most in the NFL. And I say, well, yeah, man, like Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they have a terrific eye for talent and fit. And I think the fit part of it is most important.